Hello, this is Remington Steele with part 2 of Remington Steele's Halfling Warhammer 8th edition book review. It's an alternative army, not endorsed by Games Workshop, but why not give it a try if you want something different, if you want a bit of a laugh. In this video, you're going to see my painted miniatures in the Halfling range for this army. You're going to see the core figures, you're going to see the special troops and the rare troops. Now I've assembled these miniatures from different companies, mainly from the following 4 companies: Games Workshop, Reaper Miniatures, the Battleforge, and a new one, Warploque Miniatures. So I hope you enjoy it. It's a growing army, and some of the miniatures are quite difficult to get hold of, and you've got to use your imagination. I hope you enjoy it. So this is going to be part 2 out of a 3-part series. Part 3 is going to be all about the Halfling magic and heroes and special characters. So enjoy. Okay, so first up in our Halfling army core list are the Militia. The basic Halfling is neither very tough, very strong, or very skillful at fighting. Most Halflings are excellent shots with a bow, and some are decent fighters. Halflings are known to be intelligent, usually described as sneaky, can move in woods quite unhindered, again known as sneaky, and loyal, especially where food is concerned. The backbone of all Halfling armies in the moot are the common Halflings themselves. These reluctant warriors come forth from their homesteads only in the direst of circumstances to defend their lands with whatever minor weapons or farm implements are available. A muster of villagers and farmers is always maintained in readiness to defend their lands against raiders. Halflings may not be the best around, but they can be brave to the point of insanity when it comes to defending their homeland. They often keep fighting against all odds, even when troops from other larger breeds have already been withdrawn from combat. Halflings are a little bit too bulky as to make them first-class warriors, but their aim with the bow is excellent. That is why most Halfling regiments recruited by Imperial armies are archers, but the Halflings are perfectly capable of fighting with a sword or a spear if necessary. So your basic Militia Halfling warrior is 3 points a model. You can give him a spear for an extra half point, a great weapon for 1 point, and a shield for 1 point, or a bow or a sling. So there you go, there's a basic Halfling Militia. Next up we have Halfling Rangers. Halfling bowmen are renowned throughout the Empire as the best in the land. This belief has given rise to several famous Halfling bowman mercenaries, most notably Lumping Croup and his fighting cocks, although a general who is short on rations may wish to think twice about hiring such a regiment. Not so brave Halflings may seek to avoid the brutalities of close combat by becoming bowmen, and such is their dedication to saving their own skins that many such individuals become highly skilled, and dare it be said, dangerous soldiers. Now most Halflings are expected to do some military service, some protect the moot from the rare attacks of orcs and goblins, others simply patrol the peaceful roads that lead elsewhere. So, you have your Halfling Ranger, who has a bow skill of 5, and they only cost 9 points a model. They have the Skirmish Special rule. They basically go from a unit size of 10 to 20, equipped with hand weapon and a bow, so you can't really give them any armour. That's what you get. For an extra 2 points, you can upgrade them to Scouts. So there you go, our Halfling Rangers. And next up on our core we have the Vigilante Guard. A Vigilante Guard is the closest thing to a warrior among the Halflings. They are usually the largest individuals of the village, even to exceed 2 feet in average height of a common Halfling. They wear stylish clothes and wear a hat with a red pen as a badge of their profession. Some Halflings might think that these characters are unnecessary, as peace nearly always reigns in the village, and Halflings themselves are a peaceful people and good by nature. thus avoiding getting into trouble and tending not to break the law. And, well, the truth is that the people have little to worry about other than the occasional thief or a casual discussion about the boundaries of one's land. Although not real soldiers, the law enforcers of the moot often join the ranks marching to war when the need rises. The Vigilante Guard are considered respected and wise career men, as they receive a decent pay for their jobs or casually patrolling villages and reminding people not to get too drunk. And your Vigilante Guard will cost you 6 points a model. They have a higher weapon skill of 3, and they can be given a spear, a shield, and light armour. So this is your 5-up save, better than rubbish, but kind of still rubbish, core sorts of soldier. You can also swap your spear for a halberd for free, or you can give your Vigilante Guards bows as well. Some halflings have a bizarre obsession with the ponies used by their kin of farming, and even go as far as to learn to ride them. These individuals are often inducted into the ranks of the Hobbilars, or else are employed by imperial tax collectors. In times of need, these cadres ride out alongside their foot-slogging countrymen, bows in hand and a hearty breakfast in their guts. Your Hobbilars are the kind of comedy cavalry of the Halfling army. I say comedy because although they get the movement of 7 and they are the fast cavalry, they have a special rule which is called oomph. Now, whenever a Hobbilar charges or marches, you roll a d6 for each rider. On a roll of a 1, the halfling has lost his balance and fallen off the pony, which he must now spend the rest of the game trying to catch up, and you remove the Hobbilar as a casualty. So here's a regiment which has each figure has a 1 in 6 chance when it goes on the charge or marches of dying before it even meets the enemy. In any case, the physique of the halflings would advise them to not sit on anything that moves more than a rocker. Unfortunately, ponies are animals that, due to their short legs, do not maintain a very steady trot. That is why the halflings have the horseback riding style of a sack of potatoes. So, needless to say, your Hobbilars will be nothing more than a distraction, and at best may be able to take out a siege engine if they're lucky. At 9 points a model, you can have a Hobbilar on a pony. The pony will get an attack, a weapon skill 2, strength 3, and you can give it a spear, a bow, or a sling with a shield. So the best you can get is a 5-up save on your cavalry. Pathetic. Next up in our Halfling Core list are the Field Wardens, and for 7 points a model you can have a Halfling ambushing unit. A unit size of 10 to 30, and only a bow skill of 4 compared to your Rangers 5. You can make them skirmishers for an extra 2 points, and that's about it with these guys. They're not that good on the on paper at all, and I think we should move straight on to the next one. But there you go, it's Field Wardens. They have a sling. They prefer to attack from ambush, using their superior skill with missile weapons to neutralise the size advantage of their foes. Since the moot shares a border with Sylvania, the Field Wardens have particular expertise in dealing with the living dead. More than one hand of zombies has been brought down by a fusillade of sling stones from determined Field Wardens. Interesting. Could be even more interesting if they had some kind of special bonus against undead, but they don't in this set of rules. And next up we have the Indomitable Housewives that are in your core list. Halfling women. Halfling women folk are not to be messed with. They are uncannily strong. They unerringly hit the mark when there is a punch to be thrown, and due to years of child rearing and housework are incredibly tough. Equipped with rolling pins, ladles, frying pans, and other various kitchen equipment, housewives pack quite a punch, and are not the kind of people to be trifled with. Wherever there's a home and a family to protect, you can count on finding a strong housewife to defend it. The sight of one of their menfolk being killed is enough to drive them into frenzied bloodlust, so beware of a woman's wrath. So the special rule for housewives is the woman's wrath, and a halfling housewife immediately subject to frenzy if any male halflings die within 8 inch of them. And they have a weapon skill of 3 and a toughness of 3. So slightly better in weapon skill and toughness than your average halfling. They will cost you 5 points only a model. You can't equip them with any armour, and you can only give them a hand weapon. So these units can go from 10 plus. So I'm going to have to find a lot more halfling female models to be able to even field a basic unit of them. But there you go. That's another comedy core unit from the halflings. And we're going to move on to our specials. Halflings are well known for their nimble feet and even nimbler fingers. And next up on our specials is the Thieves, a halfling thief. It is surprising the number of things that go missing when a halfling is about. The poor little chaps don't know they're doing it half the time. They just seem to acquire things. Rings, boxes of matches and small pets as they go about their normal business. As can be expected, the speed and agility of halfling thieves has been noted by many of those who seek their fortune, delving into abandoned dwarf holds and performing mighty deeds in dungeons. Halflings make excellent bait for monster traps. They're usually quick and lucky enough to escape once the monster has fallen for the trap. Their diminutive size allows them to be pushed through sewers, under badly fitting gates, and into rat-infested nooks and crannies. So, a halfling thief has a couple of special rules. They're basically scouts and skirmishers. They have a weapon skill of 3, higher than a normal halfling, and they also have initiative of 6 and a higher movement rate of 5. Their first special rule is shiny. Whenever a halfling thief is in base contact with an enemy character, he may attempt to steal a magic item at the start of close combat round. You roll a d6, and if you roll a 1, your thief is caught and killed outright. If you roll a 2, the thief is chased back and may not attack this round. If he rolls a 3 or 4, not noticed but fails to steal anything, but if you roll a 5, the thief succeeds in stealing the lowest value magic item from the unit. And if you roll a 6, the thief succeeds in stealing a magic item of his choice. Each stolen magic item is removed from play, and its points cost is added as victory points to the halfling side at the end of the game. So you can't use a special item for yourself, but you can pretty much just take it away from your opponent. So a lot of the halfling special rules are all about getting slight bonuses and also taking away the bonuses of your enemy. So, like I said, halflings need as much help as they can get. And this is a way of levelling out some tasty magic items that other armies get to have. Your second special rule as a halfling thief is take it and run. Before break tests are taken, thieves may choose to leave combat willingly. They will flee 2d6 away from the enemy as normal, but will rally automatically and may not be pursued. Thieves fleeing in this way do not cause panic. Now you can give hold on. Yep, thieves can be a whole unit. You have a whole unit of thieves according to this, and they get to have 2 hand weapons, a unit size of 5 to 20. So quite an interesting unit, very different from the others. There is another unit called a Master Thief, and that is just a special character you can put into a unit. But here we have a whole unit of thieves, and they come in at 11 points per model. You can also give them throwing knives, so quite a little handy thing to have, I think. Next up on our specials in their Halfling Army of the Moot are my personal favourite, the Pantry Guard. At 5 points a model, they have a weapon skill of 3 and a strength of 3 and a leadership of 9. Respected by their fellows for their ability to prepare steaks and the fillings used by bakers in their pies, the cooks of the moot are often forced into battle where their wicked cleavers are more than capable of cutting through the armour and bones of their foes. Cooks are the most respected members of the Halfling community, and they form the moot's elite infantry unit, the Pantry Guards. Cooks with more than a reputation for their culinary skills. The Pantry Guard normally guard the big pantry of a village, and when it's time for war, they are some of the best and most feared fighters in the whole of the moot. Now, the special thing about the Pantry Guard is that they often accompany a Halfling army with a what's known as a chuck wagon. Whenever Halflings go to a war, you can be sure that an army of cooks and carriers wait behind their lines to keep their bellies and quivers full. Key to these support elements are chuck wagons, great carts filled with food, spare weapons, ale, and all manner of other things. Needless to say, they are treated with reverence by the Halfling themselves. So, the chuck wagon is placed in the second rank of a unit of Pantry Guards and must stay with the unit at all times. Should the unit be destroyed, another friendly unit may capture it by moving into base contact with it. If an enemy unit captures an unguarded chuck wagon, it is automatically destroyed. The sight of a carriage full of delicious dishes is, for a Halfling, much more inspiring than the most glorious standard. The chuck wagon counts as the army's battle standard for all purposes. If a master chef accompanies the chuck wagon by being in the same unit, the range of the battle standard is increased to 18 inch. In addition, any unit accompanied by a chuck wagon is stubborn. So your Pantry Guard, apart from their toughness, are actually level with a human, but slightly better leadership and better initiative. Plus, they're stubborn and come in at only 5 points. So, well worth it if you ask me. And if the chuck wagon is destroyed, then they do have to take a panic test. But from then on, all Halfling units will hate the enemy unit responsible for the heinous act. The chuck wagon is pulled by a gigantic, at least a Halfling's, auroch, an ancient breed of wild cattle and apparently quite tasty. It may attack enemies to its front like a chariot mount. The chuck wagon's got 4 wounds and a toughness of 5. Not too bad, I suppose. Another interesting new unit for the Halfling army. So all the miniatures you've been seeing so far were painted by myself, and I will put descriptions in the writing bit of this YouTube about where I got them from, what companies sell them. So next up in the special units for the Halflings are bee swarms. Now I don't have a miniature bee swarm, but nevertheless, your bee swarm can be used in battle. And at some point, a Halfling beekeeper noticed that bees could have potential used in battle. Since then, many of these beekeepers trap swarms of these insects in bags the night before the battle when the hive is asleep. The bees are then released as the foe, where they swarm and sting them something horrible. Though weak individually, a whole swarm of angry bees can cause considerable damage. So you've got a unit here with random movement. Once they are released, they have 2d6 movement, weapon skill 3, strength 1, toughness 1. And the attacks are also 2d6. And they have wounds 5, initiative 3. So the bee swarm, the special rules are release the bees. Only the beekeepers are deployed on the battlefield initially. In the shooting phase, the beekeepers can decide to release the bees. The bags of bees can be thrown up to 8 inch. Place the bee swarms on the spot you wish to throw them. This may take them into close combat with an enemy. After the bees have been released, they will move in a random direction as determined by the scatter dice. They will engage in combat with any unit they encounter, friend or foe, except other bee swarms and beekeepers. If a bee swarm encounters a beekeeper, they will come under the halfling player's control and will fight as normal unit from then on. And the second special rule for bee swarms are ouch, that stings. All attacks made by bee swarms are made with a -1 modifier to armour saves, as the bees can easily get into cracks of armour where the foe has no protection. So the bee swarm comes in at strength 1. You're going to be hitting on 6s, 2d6, strength 1, weapon skill 3. You'll be lucky if you get 1 or 2 wounds from your bees. Yeah. Make of that what you will. The Lords of the Harvest, as they call themselves, are gang members, often the sons of farm labourers. They are practised swordsmen who fight piggyback, with one of them atop the other's shoulders. This not only enables them to bring more attacks to bear against the foe, but also means that they are more flailing little arms to defend against. These are the Lords of the Harvest, and another special unit for the Halfling army. They have special rules, and one of them is they have the fighting extra ranks. They have the kick 'em in the shins rule as well. The Lords of the Harvest are not above fighting dirty when needed, and often go for the enemy's weak spot in a fight. Lord of the Harvest gain +1 to hit in close combat. Now, the Harvest Lords of the Harvest, they have a weapon skill of 3, so that would then give them an also a +1 to hit in close combat. This is your Halfling unit with potentially the highest chance to succeed in hitting a foe, and they have a weapon skill of 3, and they have also 2 attacks. Which is pretty cool. I'm just having a look here to see how much these figures cost if you were to get them. And they come in at 8 points a model. You can only give them slings, and they have 2 hand weapons. So does that give them another attack? So potentially 3 attacks per model. Because they have a base attack of 2. Yeah, not too bad at all. So you've got a halfling with 3 attacks. There's no there's no ability for any kind of armour on these that you can give them. Yeah, not too shabby at all. Unit size of 10 or more. These are very difficult miniatures to find, so you're going to have to make your own putting 2 together, because Games Workshop only made 2 models like this, and they're really expensive and rare to buy. So, last off in the Halfling Specials, we have the Ramriders. These are heavy cavalry with a thunderous charge. It gives them a strength 4 impact hit, and for every subsequent rank of rams, you get an increase of strength by 1 up to a total of 5. Strength 5 is your total, so not too shabby, I suppose. A Ramrider comes in at 15 points a model. You can give your unit heavy armour and a shield, so 4 save for a 3 saving throw for a halfling. Fantastic. And you can give it a spear, give your halfling a spear on top. Your Ramrider has a weapon skill of 3. The actual ram itself is only a weapon skill 3, strength 3, toughness 3. But yeah, I would definitely have a unit of these if you can find the models. Next up we have the Dawg Riders. Dawg Riders are a rare form of Halfling cavalry, with mounted archers upon large hounds. These versatile riders are expert shots and often used to scout ahead of the army. Dogs are especially prepared with saddles and harness, and well trained enough to bear a halfling to war points back. They offer very little protection to their riders, and are of little use as shock troops. Nonetheless, dogs can be extremely loyal to their riders, often staying to defend them in times of need. Special rules are go get 'em, boy. Dogs are especially eager when moving in on their prey, as it usually means food, or at least the promise of food. Whenever a unit of Dawg Riders charges, pursues, or overruns, they may re-roll the dice to see how far they move. Kind of handy. A dog has a movement of 9, weapon skill 3, strength and toughness 3. And so this is sort of your fast cavalry that won't fall off like the Hobbilars do. And you can give them light armour as well. And yeah, you can give them a bow too. They come in at 14 points a model. You can also give them a spear. So there could be +1 on the charge with their strength. Not too bad at all. Unit size of 5 or more. And finally for the specials, we have the Halfling Swan Riders. So our Halfling Swan Riders, I don't really have a model for those, and very difficult to find any unless you kind of make your own out of toys. But the Swan Riders, 21 points, and it's your flying cavalry. An angry swan has a weapon skill of 4, an initiative of 5, 1 attack. Your halfling who rides the swan has a hand weapon and a bow. You can upgrade it to a spear. 21 points a model, and your swan is a flyer. These large birds make ideal mounts for transporting troops around the battlefield quickly. They are also aggressive and kill with their powerful wings. They usually fly in a V formation, and their riders are the best of the moots bowmen who can shoot on the wing with ease. And so your Swan Rider has a bow skill of 5, so very handy in the air. And the swans are subject to hatred and have the devastating charge rule. So re-rolling to hits, not too bad at all with a weapon skill of 4. And your devastating charge can help out too. So not too shabby at all. You just can't find the models, that's all. I hope this next picture's not in too bad taste, but it's the Halfling Reaper and Shearer. When the farmers go to war, they invariably bring their battle ploughs with them. These contraptions are as deadly as they are bizarre, drawn by a pair of bulls and dragging behind them huge bladed plough. For the most part, they're designed for cutting wheat, but they're equally home cutting off heads. So this is your Halfling chariot. You have the Reaper and you have the Shearer. The smaller Shearer causes D6 impact hits on the charge, whereas the largest Reaper causes 2d6 plus 2. You have the Get Off My Land special rule, where the farmers can be very courageous when faced with a threat to their farms. Farmers with the Halfling deployment zone are stubborn. They also have sheepdogs, and they move around the machine like skirmishers, no more than 3 inches away. But they add to the unit when it's in combat. So a battle ram, you've got your farmer, you've got a battle ram or an auroch pulling the Reaper or Shearer, which is your sort of cow basically. It's a halfling cow. And you've got sheepdog. So yeah, quite a nice unit. I just haven't seen any pictures of Halfling's army on the internet, so you'll have to forgive me. Perhaps if I get time, I will make one of these machines and see how it does on the field. And my favourite unit in the rare is the Halfling Hotpot, a classic Games Workshop miniature, often employed in Empire armies. It's basically a pot filled with acidic stew and crewed by 3 halfling chefs. Originally a desperate innovation, the Halfling Hotpot has now become something of an institution amongst the halflings. The Hotpot is exactly that, a pot of boiling liquid hurled at the enemy ranks. The Hotpot follows the rules for stone throwers with the following exceptions. The Hotpot has a maximum range of 36 inch. Hits are resolved at strength 2 with a -3 armour save modifier. The model under the hull takes a strength 6 hit with no armour saves allowed and causes D3 wounds. So yeah, could be quite a comedy thing. Only comes in at 50 points. So, what if you took 3 or 4 of these things? Perhaps you could snipe somebody. Next up, to add a bit of punch to the Halfling armies in the rare choices, are Moot Ogres. Although they seem a bit of an odd pairing, Ogres are often lured from the hills by the opportunity to sample the local delicacies of Moot. If elders ever need protection, then the Ogres are the ones to call upon to provide that extra bit of force and muscles. So, you've got stats of a normal Ogre. Strength 4, Toughness 4, Wounds 3, Attacks 3. They cause fear and they cause impact hits. So, you know, having a unit of 6 of these could help you out tremendously in a battle, and also it'll also be a source of distracting the enemy, and they may go for the Moot Ogres, 30 points a model. If I didn't mention it before, the Reaper and Shearer, the Reaper's 90 points and the Shearer was 45 points only. Both with armour saves of 4 up. Right, next up we have Kathleen, the half tank. So basically, Kathleen, the half tank, is in essence, it's an Empire steam tank, but kind of not as good. And it was given by a grateful elector count to the Moot. And it's a large target, unbreakable, causes fear, toughness 6, wounds 6, strength 5, movement 6. It has a soup cannon at strength 2, -3 armour save, and you fire that with a flame template. It has irresistible force, it says. On the turn where Kathleen charges into combat, it inflicts D6 impact hits in the same way as a chariot. In other turns, it inflicts D3 strength 5 hits, as the halflings inside desperately grind the half tank over whatever it has got stuck upon. So automatic hits it gives, and they come in at a pretty good strength there. So yeah, a decent war machine, and I would really have that in my army. I don't have the model for it, so I've used a dwarf flame cannon. Looks kind of, I think it can be passed as the same thing. Yeah, cool. So there you have it. You've got all the units in the Halfling Alternative Warhammer Army book. That was the core, the special, and the rare troops. I haven't gone over any special characters as yet, and I haven't gone over one of the most important units in the Halfling game, and that is the Enchanter, which is the equivalent of the Halfling Wizard, and all the special rules and special spells that the Halflings get in their lore. Their magic is pretty good, actually. So I'm going to devote another video to that especially. And they also get Master Chefs, which have special rules as well. And I'm going to go through some of the special characters of the Halflings in another video in the near future. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed my overview of the Halfling Army book. And I'll hopefully see you again soon. I hope you subscribe to my channel. God bless everyone. This is Remington Steele. Bye-bye.